The Monotheistic Dream and the Dusk of a Dynasty. Chapter 1. The Prince in the Shadow of Amun. Amenhotep IV, son of the magnificent pharaoh Amenhotep III, was unlike his predecessors. From his youth in the opulent capital of Thebes, where the colossal Karnak temple honored the god Amun-Ra, he carried a profound sense of difference. His physique was slender, his face long with a pointed chin, and his eyes held a distant gaze, contrasting sharply with the customary, robust appearance of a pharaoh. He was raised amidst the power and the deeply ingrained polytheistic worship of ancient Egypt. However, the immense authority of the Amun-Ra priesthood bred unease in his soul. They were wealthy, powerful, and at times overshadowed the power of the throne itself. When he looked up at the sky, he did not see a complex pantheon of deities, but a single pure source of light, Aten, the glorious sun disk. Immediately upon ascending the throne in 1353 BCE, Amenhotep IV initiated reforms that sent shockwaves across the land. Initially, he merely elevated the status of Aten above all other gods. But soon, the dream of a world bathed in the pure light of one single deity transformed into an irresistible imperative. During a ceremony at the temple of Amun, as the high priest chanted the ancient liturgy, Amenhotep IV made his declaration: "I, the servant of Amun, shall no longer be Amenhotep. From this day forth, my name is Akhenaten, effective spirit of Aten." The proclamation struck like a lightning bolt. It was not merely a change of name, it was a declaration of war against the entire social, religious, and political framework of Egypt. Chapter 2. Dawn over Akhetaten. Akhenaten did not just want reform, he wanted erasure. He commanded that the names and images of Amun-Ra be chiseled out from every temple, every stele, even from the names of his own father. The worship of all other gods was forbidden. Only Aten, the sole sun god, the source of all life, was to be venerated. To escape the influence and opposition of the Amun-Ra priesthood in Thebes, Akhenaten decided to relocate the capital, building a new city from scratch, a pristine metropolis dedicated solely to Aten. This city, built on a desolate stretch of desert land, was named Akhetaten, Horizon of Aten, modern-day Amarna. Within a few years, a magnificent city sprang up, dramatically different from the massive, shadowed architecture of the old temples. Akhetaten glowed under the sun, featuring open-air temples without roofs so that the light of Aten could shine directly upon the worshippers. Art also underwent a revolution, becoming known as the Amarna style. The wall reliefs no longer depicted the pharaoh in a stiff, idealized manner. Instead, they showcased intimate, natural scenes of Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti, the beautiful one has come, his stunning and influential wife, interacting affectionately with their daughters under the blessing rays of Aten. It was a reign defined by romance, philosophy, and groundbreaking art, all nurtured by the king's vision. Nefertiti, with her distinctive tall blue crown and mesmerizing beauty, was an indispensable partner. She appeared on an equal footing with her husband in religious ceremonies, an unprecedented move that underscored the central role of the royal family in the new faith. Akhenaten's new theology was simple yet radical. Aten was the sole creative force, the light that sustained life, acting through the pharaoh, his sole prophet on earth. This system elevated Akhenaten from ruler to divine intermediary, solidifying his absolute power, but isolating him politically and spiritually from his people. When you rise on the eastern horizon of heaven, you fill every land with your beauty. You are distant, yet your rays are on earth. When you set in the western horizon of heaven, the earth is in darkness. Excerpt from the great hymn to the Aten, believed to be composed by Akhenaten himself. Chapter 3. The price of singular truth. Yet, Akhenaten's solitary dream came at a heavy cost. While Akhenaten and Nefertiti immersed themselves in the light of Aten at Akhetaten, the rest of Egypt was consumed by latent chaos and subtle resistance. The priests and nobles, stripped of their wealth and power, they harbored deep resentment against the pharaoh who had taken away their age-old gods and the religious stability they believed was necessary to maintain cosmic order. They secretly continued their traditional worship, awaiting their opportunity. The common people, they struggled to accept an abstract, distant god in place of the familiar deities of home, trade, and the afterlife. They missed the vibrant festivals, the tangible idols, and the comforting rituals associated with their ancestral gods. The borders. Egypt's vassal states, once held securely by military might and domestic stability, began to falter. Diplomatic correspondence, known as the Amarna letters, reveals that Akhenaten was so consumed by religious matters that foreign policy was neglected. Territories were lost, and desperate allies pleaded for military aid that never came. Melancholy began to shadow Akhetaten. Queen Nefertiti seemed to vanish from public records around the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, sparking historical speculation about a possible rift or her sudden death. The death of one of their young daughters and the evident decline of Akhenaten himself signaled an inevitable end. His art shifted, showing a more weary human figure, perhaps reflecting his growing realization of the failure to wholly transform his empire. The final records concerning Akhenaten are vague. He died in the 17th year of his reign, his demise shrouded in mystery, possibly hastened by illness or even a conspiracy. The dismantling of Akhenaten's legacy began almost immediately, like a sandcastle washing away with the tide. The curse and the restoration following Akhenaten's death. The suppressed fear and resistance erupted violently. Two short-lived successive rulers, possibly Smenkhar, a son-in-law or son, were followed by his own young son, Tutankhaten. Under the influence of the old priesthood and powerful officials, the boy king was compelled to carry out what history calls the counter-revolution. The young king changed his name to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun. He formally abandoned Aten, closed the temples at Akhetaten, and moved the capital back to Thebes. The Amun-Ra priesthood regained its authority and embarked on a systematic and brutal campaign to erase Akhenaten's dynasty. Akhetaten was abandoned, left to decay into a ghost city in the desert. The destroyers didn't just dismantle the Aten temples, they hammered out Akhenaten's name from statues and monuments. In official historical records, Akhenaten was condemned as the enemy from Akhetaten, or even entirely omitted from the king lists, as though he had never existed. It was a calculated effort to prevent his soul's rebirth in the afterlife, a devastating historical curse. For 3 millennia, Akhenaten remained forgotten, a ghost banished from the official narrative. It was not until the 19th century that archaeologists unearthed the ruins of Akhetaten and the Amarna letters, revealing the story of this heretic pharaoh. Eventually, scientists located a mysterious tomb, TV-55, in the Valley of the Kings, containing a mummy now near certainly identified as Akhenaten, the father of Tutankhamun, buried hastily and without the magnificence befitting a pharaoh. Today, Akhenaten is viewed not just as a failed heretic, but as a visionary reformer, a philosopher, and an artist who dared to challenge the gods and traditions of a mighty empire. He was the pharaoh who gave the world the concept of a single monotheistic god, an idea that would later shape the great religions of humanity. Akhenaten's life is a poignant and epic tale of a solitary genius who tried to change the course of history with a brilliant dream under the Aten's light, but who was ultimately consumed by that very brilliance.